And welcome back to First Move. It was one of the most heartfelt, unexpected, and beautiful moments of last weekend's Global Citizen Festival right here in New York. Superstar Brazilian DJ Alok and musicians from his country's indigenous communities spreading their message of peace and love. They wanted to highlight the need to protect Native peoples and their ancestral homelands. Now, the concert is part of the performers' ongoing efforts to raise awareness of the environmental catastrophe currently taking place in Brazil. More than 62,000 square kilometers of the Amazon rainforest have burned so far this year, just this year. That's some 24,000 square miles. The environmental disaster is placing the country's indigenous communities, their culture, and their very future at risk. Alok's trying to do something about that. All proceeds from his new album, The Future is Ancestral, will go to indigenous musicians who co-created this project. Julia Chatterley sat down with Alok and spoke to him about his life, career, and the cause he is most passionate about.
This project is all about, potentializing the indigenous voices.
Yeah.
And when they'll be telling me for a long time, like, we're screaming so loud, but no one can hear us. And I said, maybe through the music they can. And they do not have to understand the Awanawa language to feel it. And the message is really like the forest is asking for help. I don't know if you heard about what's going on this year in Brazil. We lost this year equivalent of 130 São Paulo cities on the deforestation. So yeah, it's a very critical point. It's also a point of no return, which like the forest cannot recover by itself. So this album is the vehicle to come here and speak about, the importance about protecting the forest.
It is about protection too, because the forest protects us. The indigenous people and tribes whose voices you are literally amplifying with this album have been the protectors of the forest and the biodiversity for centuries. So I love the history in what you've done, including the fact that the name is about the future being ancestral. It's our future that we're being protecting. So you're very clever in many ways. What's it like for them to be in New York?
It's amazing because, when they're here and they're performing the Global Citizen, it gives a very important validation to them. So when they come back to their communities, they become heroes for them, and it really inspires also our society over there in a way where it's very important to have the new generation also concerned about it, because we always ask ourselves what world we're leaving for our kids, but we forgot to ask what kids are we leaving for this world. It's very important that it doesn't really matter if we have a world that's based on sustainability if the next generation do not have value on that. Exactly.
Well, clearly someone loves it because you've been nominated for a Latin Grammy Award. How does that feel, and what does that mean to have something that you clearly care passionately about, loved by others clearly too?
It's interesting because I was trying to explain them the importance of it, but they didn't really, and I said, hey, listen, it's very important, because in the end of the day, once again, it's one more validation that we have this project. But we didn't do this thinking about the formula of the music industry. Actually, we did something that was based on just what's genuine, and it's really out of the formula. It has to be timeless, Some of my songs that I do in my career, I know that will last only for 6 months because that's what's trending now on TikTok. But this one cannot be. It's a good recognition,
but I think the point actually in what you're saying is it's the heart and soul. And I think for those that don't know, and I'm sure many do, because we talked about it the last time we spoke, the importance of the Amazon for you at a period of time when you were a bit lost and you were successful and you were searching for the meaning of life, I think, and the importance of life and the important things. And you spent 10 days there, and actually it gave you purpose as a person, I think, and the direction of your life, but also how you give back with the development of the Institute as well. And I think that's a crucial piece of who you are and what you represent.
We're very disconnected with the forest, right?
Yeah.
And you were saying the importance about like amplifying the indigenous voice, which is very important because we're not giving them voice, they have already.
Yeah.
We're just amplifying. And they, look, in Brazil, 82% of the forest that is still preserved are preserved by 5% of the population.
Right.
And guess what? Are the indigenous.
It's them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because for many people, the forest stand is not productive, but for them, it's not only their territories, there's a culture, there's spirituality. So it's kind of like, okay, I got it. So once you understand the value about the forest, it's kind of how can you deny that? So that's that. So that's about the album. How you can bring consciousness. I don't care about streaming. I care about bringing consciousness.
You care about it all. Because in a way, the bigger your platform, the more amplification you
But it's
provide.
like I'm free, you know. In this
yeah.
one, we're free. I'm not playing the
Yeah.
game, just free.
Yeah.
No pressure of labels and anything.
That's
just
your
doing
soul,
Yeah.
I think, the strength of your soul. One of the other things that I think is intrinsic to who you are as a person is your family and finding work-life balance.
Well, I think that's the biggest challenge of my career nowadays, which is like finding the balance,
Yeah.
you know. And it's a moment where now, next year, I will reduce 30% of my agenda because they cannot travel with me anymore. Like they were, like 3 weeks ago, I was in Amazon and I brought them with me and they really enjoy. Like they really like travel with me, but at the end of the day, they also have, you know, to go and do properly the school.
Yeah.
I cannot bring a teacher. I think my wife wouldn't agree.
She wouldn't.
No.
Now we know who the boss is in the family.
And she also has a very she has a like routine. She's a doctor. She always has, you know, so it's.
How about we just plant a few
and
more?
that's why the future is ancestral, you know.
Because we've done so much damage.
Exactly.
Keep fighting.
Yeah.
Get some sleep. I know you won't, but you sparkle nonetheless.
Yeah.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.
What a treat that was. Our thanks, Julia Chatterley.